What's up everybody, Anyextee here with another Adept Expedition. Welcome to the channel. If you have not already done so, please do subscribe now for more Adept Expeditions from around the world, where we take a look at ancient civilizations through an esoteric lens. In this video, we will be looking at an inexplicable, out-of-place artifact that even the Egyptologists have no explanation for. The unexplainable craftsmanship and precision of such artifacts demonstrate the high wisdom of the ancient Egyptians. This Egyptian esoteric knowledge is evidence for ancient lives lived consciously in spirit. And after years of studying the heritage and importance of the mystery schools, it has become clear that the remnants left behind by the ancient Egyptians carry esoteric messages that convey subtle realities of what proponents of the symbolist school of thought, such as myself, refer to as the sacred science. Egyptian medicine, math, and astronomy, all esoteric arts, were more sophisticated than most Egyptologists acknowledge. And this is evident in the art, architecture, and artifacts found at various sites that I've explored and documented throughout Egypt where I live. And if examining the unusual object in this video isn't already enough, I'm also going to take you on an adept expedition to further penetrate the site where it's located to see what else may be lying around. And while some videos here on YouTube feature certain aspects of the site, there is just not enough of footage showcasing the entire landscape and vast extremities of this archaeological site. Restoration to the temple has only just begun, just a few years before COVID, and because my dear friend and former landlord here in Egypt is the Egyptologist responsible for the restoration of this site, I've been granted special VIP access to parts that few eyes ever see. So, today we are taking a closer look at the ruins of Bubastis, often identified with the biblical Tell Basta, a derivative of the ancient Egyptian perplexing, known today in Arabic as Tell Basta, which means the house of Bastet, because the temple here was consecrated to the goddess Bastet. Who is Bastet? She is most commonly known as the ancient Egyptian cat goddess. Bastet is the sacred divine feminine principle of protection and fertility that was originally worshipped in the form of a lioness, not unlike Sekhmet, and later she was a cat. As the daughter of Ra, the sun god, Bastet was an ancient neter whose ferocious nature was improved after the domestication of the cat around 1500 BC. Sekhmet and Bastet are often conflated and esoterically understood to be two aspects of a single source, though Bastet represents the gentler aspect. Why protection? Why a cat, you may ask? Well, like all ancient Egyptian symbolism, if we look at the qualities of the animal, it becomes apparent. The cat was known to chase away snakes, hence it became protector of the pharaoh. Bubastis is a rarely visited site, not included on most spectator tour itineraries because it's a bit off the beaten path from your typical tourist route. Although we often make best efforts to visit during my esoteric tours of Egypt, which you can join by registering at adeptexpeditions.com. Located about 65 miles northeast of Giza, it usually takes about 2 hours to reach by car, or about 2.5 if traveling by bus, making it a nice addition to a day trip to Tanis. So now we are on our way to Temple of Bastet, Bubastis, and Tanis, and we have our escort. Egyptian authorities do require all tourists traveling along this route to have a police escort. That is a convoy armed with heavy artillery, and it usually elicits more fear from the tourists rather than the desired effect of making them feel safe. But historically, it is a pretty safe area, and the guns are mostly for show to make you feel protected. As you can see from this captured video footage that I have here, we have a police escort on the bike in front and the vehicle behind us. Just southeast of the modern Egyptian city of Zagazig, the granite ruins of an ancient city, once considered sacred, comes into view. But at first glance, there isn't really much to see. Today, Bubastis has been mostly reduced to nothing more than a field of stones, a cat cemetery, and a small museum. The Temple of Bastet has produced some incredibly interesting artifacts, such as these on display in the museum, which is worth taking a few minutes to check out before exploring the site, as well as many others that have been removed and relocated to other museums in Egypt and around the world, such as this silver vase with the goat-shaped handle that was discovered in one of the sanctuaries of Bastet here on site. The vase is regarded as clear proof for the great skill, the broad imagination, and high wisdom of the ancient Egyptian artists who used the gold goat as an elegant handle for the vase, which is now on display on the second floor in the Egyptian Museum. And this bracelet of Ramses, made of gold and lapis lazuli, also on display here in Egypt at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. And these clamps or tenons inscribed with the name of Nectanebo II, also taken from Bubastis, Temple of Bastet, but now residing in the Royal Ontario Museum in Canada. But what I'd like to do today is take you on site to see the inexplicable, out-of-place object, as well as show you more and further penetrate the ruins together. Some of this will be experiential, so you can leave a comment down below to let me know if you see anything interesting lying around in the video. Just up ahead is the colossal statue of Queen Merit Amun, which translates to Beloved of Amun. She was the fourth daughter of the 19th dynasty King Ramses II and the daughter of the beloved Nefertari. And after Nefertari's death, she became a great royal wife to Ramses II. It is a colossal statue made of pink granite. It weighs an astonishing 80 tons and stands at some 9 meters in height. It was discovered by a joint mission of the Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt and the university in Germany back in 2001. And although the statue was built during the reign of Ramses, it was later reinscribed, usurped by the 22nd dynasty King Osorkon II for his wife. And both of those names can be seen on the back of the statue. But now we're going to come over here and take a look at the open air museum. There's some interesting pieces here, and we can see some of the different examples of the stonework, different levels of craftsmanship throughout different periods. This site is known to actually reuse stone from other sites, similar to Tanis. But what I want to draw your attention to is this piece right here. Let's stop the footage right here and take a look at this inexplicable, out-of-place artifact. Let's discuss this for a moment. Why I say inexplicable? Well, for starters, there is no explanation offered by the Egyptologist. There's no placard here on site or description card like you find next to a lot of the other artifacts. It is somewhat of a mystery. We really don't know what time frame in the chronology it belongs to. We do know that the site itself dates back all the way to the Old Kingdom. The site was one of the oldest and longest standing sites throughout ancient Egyptian history, ranging from the Old Kingdom all the way up to Roman occupation. We do have evidence in the form of pillars that we'll see in just a moment that date back to the 6th dynasty, that is the Old Kingdom, to the Temple of Pepe I. There's also a large palace of Amenemhat III and remains from a well dating to the Roman period. So we know it extended all the way up into Roman occupation. The well itself is interesting because it's believed that the Holy Family, when they crossed over into Egypt, first came here to Bubastis, and that Christ as a child, one of the legends relates that when the Holy Family reached Bubastis, they were attacked by a group of thieves, and in the end, the thieves took Jesus' silver sandals. Mary was very upset, and the baby Jesus made a sign of the cross on the ground, and a spring of water appeared for her comfort. This is one of the stories. There's actually several legends. Some of these have been recorded in the annals by different Coptic patriarchs. But looking at this artifact, it is really difficult to place instinctually. I would think it belongs to the older kingdom periods, although we can't say with absolute certainty. It does take on this circular or oval form, wrapping all the way around with this fine finish. The interior, there's an opening up above. The interior is not as precise as the exterior, but still the interior is interesting for the fact that you have these horizontal depressions. I can't tell you exactly what this object is. I could say that it appears to be some sort of basin or vat. We can't say with certainty, but this is something that I have not seen at any other Egyptian site. It's unlike anything I've come across before. And again, there's no explanation for this. I say out of place because it's not something we typically see here. And we do know different stones and pieces were brought in from other sites. So its point of origin remains a mystery. Let's continue on and see what else we can find here in the ruins at Bubastis. What we're looking at here is the head of a lioness, thought to be depicting Bastet. The stone is made of pink granite, which is most common for this site, and it dates back to the Old Kingdom. After the Muslim conquest in the 7th century AD, Bubastis was abandoned, and the memory of its location was lost for centuries.
Liz, if you want, there's a walkway over here. It'll take you to the edge of the, get a view of the temple. If you're up for it.
I do have the history of it because it's paid me at all, at least. I don't have any dog biscuits. I ate today.
Next time, inshallah, as they
I
say.
come to the Temple of Bastet without cat biscuits. Can you believe that I did that?
We can go as far until they tell us no.
Signs of quarrying. So that means that the Egyptians would eventually be able to put it back together.
As you'll see, today the temple lies mostly in ruins, but some of these unusual artifacts lying around here, such as the basin or vat that we just took a look at, demonstrate the high wisdom of the ancient Egyptians, which is also expressed in their art.
What's that?
This amazing software that they take the photos of all the beds and they put it into this piece of software, and then out comes this, like, this matches this and this one matches this, so they might even be able to.
Well, that's what they're doing. That's what Dr. Higazi was doing for 2 years before the pandemic, but they ran out of funding.
Using that software, or
I don't think he's using the software because he didn't say anything about software. Yeah, I don't even think he's aware of that software. I think they're doing it old school and moving piece by piece to where they think it may go. That's interesting. So many stones.
In fact, the Greek historian Herodotus explored here in the 5th century BC. He was first to document the site, and he commented how despite other temples being more grandiose and opulent, that none were more beautiful than the Temple of Bastet. Herodotus says, and I quote, "In this city there is a temple very well worthy of mention. For though there are other temples which are larger and built with more cost, none more than this is a pleasure to the eyes," unquote. In addition to the city's beauty, Herodotus also commented on how loud, noisy people traveling by boat came to Bubastis to immerse themselves in revelry and get drunk. Speaking of the Temple of Bastet, Herodotus says, and I quote, "Where they hold festival, celebrating sacrifices, and more wine is consumed upon that festival than during the whole of the rest of the year," unquote. So apparently the cult of Bastet like to get their party on. Ain't no party like a Bastet party. Let's keep moving along.
Sick. Hello. This one. Yeah, let's get the one.
Stones everywhere. The whole site is in complete shambles. Although they are making an effort to restore the site. Again, this is the work of my friend, Dr. Saeed Hagazi. So as you can see, some of these stones are more crude and appear to be deteriorated or even perhaps unfinished, indicating a distinction in different levels of craftsmanship, whereas others have smooth finishes, flat surfaces, a testament to the high wisdom of ancient Egypt. Compare the work of the more crude statues to the inexplicable out-of-place object from earlier in this video that I'm calling a basin or a vat, which I would think likely held some sort of liquid, although I can't say with absolute certainty. If you have any ideas on what the true function of this out-of-place object may be, you can leave a comment in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out my other videos here on this YouTube channel. And if you would like to join me in Egypt for one of my tours, you can learn more at adeptexpeditions.com. And if you like what I'm doing and would like to help me do it more, please do consider supporting my work on Patreon. You can find a link for that in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. And of course, if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and click that bell icon for notifications for future videos. Until next time, this is Anyextee for Adept Expeditions, signing out.
What's up, ladies, baby?